So we're back with an update on my 1968 Mercury Cougar. It's been about 2 years since you saw the car. Life kind of got in my way and I failed to make time to make this video, even though I've been meaning to for a long time. But since you saw the car last 2 years ago, I've been daily driving it for a year and a half. I rebuilt the front and rear suspension, caster corrected upper control arms, stiffer than stock lower control arms from Open Tracker Racing, ADCO 1/8" sway bar. I've got new leafs out back and a 3/4 inch sway bar. The 3/4 inch sway bar is not on there yet. Haven't really had time to put it on. But the front end's got Kelsey Hayes 4-piston disc brakes on it now. Still manual brakes. I didn't really want to get away from manual brakes. I've got Shelby American Diamondback mags on there now. I still have some Steelies and I do like the dog dish look, and I may switch up back and forth at some point. But I really like these wheels and was lucky enough to be able to track a set down because I haven't made them in forever. And they remind me of the Raider wheels these cars were supposed to come with, but ended up not because they were recalled for strength issues. Long tube headers, 3-inch exhaust all the way back. Holley 4-barrel, 3G alternator, LED dash lights. I pulled that smog pump and the AC compressor for that underdash air that was completely trashed out of there. If I ever go back to AC, it'll be vintage air. 22-gallon fuel tank from a 70 Cougar. You just have to modify the filler neck a little bit, and you get some added fuel capacity over the 16-gallon. The trunk floor, you lose a little bit of space vertically because it protrudes up into the trunk, but I can live with that. Plasma LED rear tail lights. They work great. You can actually see them in bright daylight with sunlight shining right up against them. I rebuilt the pedal assembly. I had to pull the 3-speed out because it had a bad third gear. You just couldn't get it into third gear. When it did go in, it would like to pop out. So there's a 4-speed top loader in there that I actually bought for my Maverick, and then this car needed a transmission. I didn't want both cars to be down and out. So here we are with a 4-speed Cougar instead of a 4-speed Maverick. What else? I can walk you around the car and show you some other things. Neat fact about this car is it actually has 2 paint codes on the door tag, and that is because it is a factory two-tone Cougar, which in 68, I think there was like 3,200 Cougars that were two-tones, and out of those 3,200, 2,800 standard Cougars were the two-tone. And so standard Cougars like non-GT, non-XR7, and so that's what this is. It was never a vinyl top, it was always a black painted top, which is kind of neat. The scoop is functional. I've got it sealed to the hood at the air cleaner base, so that's pretty cool. Cut the hole in the hood. The headlight doors, I adjusted them so they don't slop a little bit anymore. They used to kind of sit on level, but they do work. One of them won't shut itself because the top seal on the vacuum canister is bad, but I'll probably convert to electric eventually anyway, get rid of all those vacuum hoses. But it's kind of neat that they mostly still work. Windshield's still cracked. I want to do a headliner when I pull it out, and I just haven't gotten around to ordering the headliner. They don't make the Nugget Gold that this is supposed to have anymore, which is kind of a real bummer. Let's see. I uncovered the door panels. So they had, if you've seen the last video, you'll remember they had a really awful, like, just cheap looking saddle brown vinyl covered over it, and there was no like trim or anything on it. You can now see the Cougar again, and I've been working to scrub whatever upholstery glue they used off of there. It hasn't been making it easy. It takes a lot of scrubbing, and it's not too happy with it. I've got a wood grain steering wheel now, ditched the blown up 68 wheel. The dash has been painted. I painted the bezels. I've actually got an NOS cluster for that dash, but I need the passenger side rear plastic piece. The chrome on that NOS one I've got is great. If I can just manage to get it in. Auxiliary gauges under the dash. Hurst shifter on the 4-speed. I tracked down some Cougar floor mats, the original rubber ones with the cat on them, but I couldn't find them in brown. They did make them in brown, but they're very, very hard to find. Unfortunately, I did pull back the rear seat upholstery a little bit. You can see where it's sticking out of that corner because the gold is underneath there, but it's just completely sun bleached and cracked at the top. You can see the headliner's falling a little bit. This headliner's not like ripped or torn anywhere other than falling out at the back. It's just the wrong material and the wrong color. And they don't make the gold anymore, so I'm probably going to have to use maybe parchment. I'm not sure what I want to use yet, but here's a look at that other door panel. That you can actually see all the detail in it now. They're not in terrible shape. They need new backer boards for sure. What else inside here? We've got an AM/FM radio now that is converted with the Aurora Design conversion. So it's got AM/FM Bluetooth, and I've still got the AM radio that was in here. It works, but I like to listen to whatever I'm feeling like listening to at that point, not just whatever radio stations want to play. So I went for something that had Bluetooth, but I wanted to look like it's 1968 in here. Dyed all this dash pad back gold. This is actually one out of another car. My friend gave me this dash face pad, and it turned out okay. The dash is a little darker than it should be for a nugget gold interior, but whatever paint SCM sold said it was nugget gold, and it's just a hair darker, so that may get redone at some point. You'll notice there's a dash pad in the car now too. That dash pad came out of a car. Some old guy took it out of a car in the 90s, and I swapped it in, bought it off of him, and dyed it back brown. It had been dyed black, but it was originally brown. You could see the brown coming through the old black dye. So I cleaned it up and dyed it. What else? I redid the taillight bezels, got the black back on them, cleaned up the chrome. This corner piece I bought up at Pate's Swap Meet to replace my other one because it was bonked from where this car had been backed into something. And I think the bumper's still bent in the old video. This is a bumper I got off of another car. And I hooked the tractor up to this and pulled the old bumper straight enough to get it out and get it loose. And then I used a porta power to push the rest of the dent out. And it came out pretty good. It's going to be hard to see because the sun's facing us, but that corner needs to be worked just a little bit. But it's mostly straight, and everything went back where it wanted to. The 90s respray is holding up about like you would expect a clear coat, base coat, clear coat paint job done in the 90s to hold up. Not well. But, and I've thought about whenever I do the headliner, while everything's out, paint the roof back black while I'm at it, and while everything's out, so I can paint the pinch welds. Because the front and the rear windshield are going to have to come out for that. There's a shot of those Diamondback mags. They got a little bit more curve to them than Raider wheels, but they're still kind of a wire mesh thing. I haven't addressed the rust at the quarter drop downs yet. I'll get around to it, but I've been daily driving it for a year and a half, and it's been a great car. My girlfriend and I have gone on road trips in it. We've driven it 4 hours in a direction, made it there fine, came back, no issues. So drive your old cars. They were built to be driven. Another thing I added was that passenger side mirror. That's a West Coast Classic Cougar part. They had Scott Drake make a reverse mold of the mirror arm, so that, because these cars never came with a passenger side mirror factory. The dealership would stick one on there, but it didn't always match exactly. So got 2 mirrors, you can see behind you now. All in all, it's been a great car for a year and a half for a daily driver. I'll show you under the hood. It's still an original looking car underneath there for the most part, other than the Holly and the ram air cleaner setup. But I'll show you that now. I moved the car into the shade so we could actually see under the hood. The sun was just too bright in that other spot. So here is the greasy engine bay in all its glory. The heater core lines are just zip tied up there because I'm afraid if I hook that heater core up after back flushing that it's going to burst. It was pretty crusty back flushing it, so it might not hold pressure now. There's the Global West strut bar export brace. Manual brakes, like I said, I like manual brakes. Manual steering. It's not horrible for a manual steering car. My Maverick's a little bit better in a parking lot than this car to turn, but it may just be a little bit of an alignment thing. No more AC compressor. It's a lot simpler in here. And bigger radiator too. That's an ACP aluminum, like stock look-alike radiator that I sprayed black because I wanted it to not stand out too much. And a 7-blade clutch fan. It definitely stays cool in traffic for the most part. Had one or two instances where it got a little warm, but I think that was just, we were really cooking it on the highway. 80, 85 miles an hour for an extended duration. This old motor wasn't too happy with that, but Holley 670 Street Avenger, played with the jetting a little bit to get it right. It might be a little bit too much carb for this motor in its current form, with just a dual plane intake and long tube headers and 3-inch exhaust all the way out the back. But if I have another set of heads and at some point I want to put a bigger cam in this motor and see how long we can make this stock bottom end 68302 last. Like I said, functional ram air. Let's see, anything else in the engine bay that's different? New washer sprayer. I haven't hooked the hose up yet, but the jug's there now. No more shattered one. 3G alternator with the PA Performance dummy voltage regulator, so I didn't have to change much in terms of the wiring. I don't know if anything else has changed. I lined the headlight doors a little bit, like I said. It's a great car, runs real good. Pertronix Igniter 3 with the built-in rev limiter is in the distributor now. Diaphragm style clutch, which is a whole lot smoother than the long style clutch. It was a plumb worn out clutch when I threw the 4-speed in there without pulling the clutch when the 3-speed bit the dust, and I threw that 4-speed in there 4th of July weekend. I don't remember what year now, but so I could drive the car. And unfortunately my Maverick's still in auto because the 4-speed that I bought for that car is in this one. Gotta love it. But I have 2 cars I can drive instead of just one. So it beats having both of them be broken. One with a bad 3rd gear and one in the middle of a transmission swap. So the top loader is great. Whole lot of fun. The diaphragm clutch combined with, I had to rebuild the pedal assembly because it shattered those pot metal bushings. And so the pedals were sitting in there crooked. They didn't pivot the way they ought to have. And fun fact, really screws with your brake pedal leverage when your pedal pivot's not in the right spot. But that's all sorted out now. Roller converted. Clutch is a whole lot smoother. It's a whole lot more fun to drive, a little less finicky. That's pretty much all I can think of. I'm sure there's stuff I've forgotten. But yeah. That's my 1968 Mercury Cougar, now with ram air, mag wheels, 4-speed, Holley carburetor, 3-inch exhaust, long tube headers. What more can you ask for in a daily driver, right? So here's a startup clip for you. Don't have a wide angle lens, so excuse the close angle. Something else I thought I'd show you guys since we're in direct sunlight. These are the plasma LED bulbs that West Coast Cougar sells, and you can definitely see them in direct sunlight. That's one of the best things I've done to this car, by far. Actually having people be able to see your brake lights is a godsend. So there you have it. There's an update on my 1968 Mercury Cougar. I think I covered everything that happened since the last time you saw the car. Not sure, I may have forgotten some stuff here and there, but I think I got the gist of it. There'll be more for the car. I've got a track lock third member sitting in the garage. I really want to get that in. I've got to get some axle seals and the tools to pull them, but because they're weeping. So I'm going to try and be more proactive about making videos this time. On this car, maybe some of my other cars. I've got 2 Ford Courier mini trucks, and I've got my Maverick, and I know someone on the last video commented wanting to see maybe a video of my Maverick, so I might have to do that soon. Hopefully life stays out of my way, or I'll just make time to make some more videos. Let me know if you want to see anything in particular. I'll try and give it a go. Thanks for watching.